Hi there, today I'm going to be walking you through the create loop from numbers action within Zapier and show you how to use it for this customer database example. So in the sheet, I've just got a list of customers with their first name, order number, email address, phone number, and their delivery date. And then the purpose of this app I'm about to walk you through is to check if today's date equals the delivery date, then update the delivery today column to be equal to true and tick this box. So the way this is set up within Zapier, we've got the everyday trigger. We're going to run this at 6 a.m. even on the weekends. And then we're going to come into the create loop from numbers action, which is part of the Looping by Zapier app. And when we go to the setup action here, you'll notice that we're starting the loop iteration counter at number 2. And the reason for this is because the first row of our data is actually row number 2 in this sheet, because row number 1 contains all our headers. So that's why we're starting at row number 2. And then as you'll notice here, the maximum number of iterations that Zapier allows you to do is 500. So that's why we go from 2 to 501. If you want to be able to loop more than 500 times, you're going to have to use nested loops within Zapier. And if you want to find out how to do that, within this blog post that I'll link to in the description of the YouTube video, I link to the Zapier for each loop quick start guide, and in here I show you how you can use nested looping to loop more than 500 times. So this is how we set up the looping. And then the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Get Many Spreadsheets row event from Google Sheets. We're going to pull in our sheet, and we only want to pull in one row at a time because we're going to go one by one through each row in the sheet and evaluate whether the delivery date is equal to today's date. And then you'll notice that we pass in the loop iteration value here. So for each time this for loop runs, this will be a different value. It'll be 2 the first time, 3 the second time, and 4 the third time. So the output of this is this raw rows value, and it's an array. And we can see all the values within the array here. And we can see the date for the delivery date here. And then step 4 is just some simple Python code. If you want this Python code and use it within your own Zap, then you can copy it here from the blog post. All this Python code does is it takes in that raw rows value that I just showed you. It takes in that array, and it takes in today's date, which it gets from step number 1. And then what it does is it splits the array using the comma delimiter, and then it gets the value at index number 4. So in Python, counting for array indexes starts at 0. So if we go back here, sorry, wrong one, this one. So array indexes start counting at 0 in Python. So this is index 0, this is index 1, 2, 3, and this is index number 4. So the delivery date we want to access is in index number 4. So all we do in Python is we split the array by the delimiter, we get the value at index number 4, and we say if this is equal to today's date, then delivered today is equal to true, else it's equal to false, and then we output that value. And then in step number 5, we use the update spreadsheet row from Google Sheets. And then we put in the row that we're evaluating and that we want to update. And then all we do is we pull in that delivered today value from the Python code in step number 4, and then it's going to update that value. So then this for loop will run for each row in the Google Sheet. And if this delivered date is equal to today's date, then it'll set this value equal to true. One potential optimization that you could make to this app to use less tasks and make it more efficient is to put a filter in here. and you can say, I only want to progress to step number 6 to update the delivery today column to true if the value is equal to 2. If the value is equal to true, because if it's equal to false, then we don't need to do anything. So there's no point going on to step number 6 here. So if deliver today is true, then come on to step number 6. Else, if it's not true, that means that this column just needs to remain as false and we don't need to do anything. So that's one potential optimization you could make to this app to make it more efficient and use less tasks. So now that you've conquered how to create loops from numbers within Zapier, some follow-up posts for you that might be of interest. If you're wondering how to include actions to run only one time after the loop is complete, then you can check out this Zapier loop through line items example post, where you'll do a lot of actions repeatedly within a loop. And then after the loop finishes, you'll just carry out actions a single time. I'll show you how to do that in this post. And then if you want to loop through all the customers within this sheet and send them SMS and email notifications, you can check out this post, the Zapier loop through array from Google Sheets post. Or if you want to update more than 500 rows at once, as I mentioned, you'll need to use nested looping, and you can check out the Zapier for each loop quick start guide for that. And I'll also mention here that the Google Sheets action we use here, whether it's the get many spreadsheet rows so the get many spreadsheet rows here can pull in 500 rows maximum at once. If you ever need to pull in more values than that, then I've got a blog post which is the Zapier Google Sheets Quick Start Guide, which shows you the best way to bring in large amounts of data from Google Sheets, and I give you a few different options to do that. So if you ever need to pull in more than 500 rows and you're restricted by this action, then check out that post to see the best way to bring in your large amounts of data into Google Sheets. So I hope this video walkthrough was useful. If you find this sort of content useful, you can subscribe here within Zapier, or you can head over to the Workflow Pro blog and subscribe over there. Have a great day.